So what if the only reason that you have not experienced your manifestation yet, the only reason it hasn't appeared is because it already has? I know. Sounds nuts. Sounds a little bit too profound. Do not worry. I'm going to explain it all, because in all reality, we've never experienced later. The only place that anything happens is now. And if you feel like you're waiting, it's not actually a fact. It's just the way that our minds filter and perceive things. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tackle this whole notion around time, because I think time is the one thing in manifestation that can really get us stuck. You know, nobody likes to wait for their desires. Everyone is fearful about how long it's going to take. And if it takes a long time, then I'm doing something wrong. They start questioning themselves. But I'm going to demonstrate with you, as I always do, using a client case file. A wonderful client of mine very kindly and graciously allowed me to share this information with you. She is now actually a very successful model, but she was ghosted for a long while by her SP. She was not chosen. She was friend zoned, and then she was replaced by a third party. But her story is going to be used as a demonstration on how the illusion of time, it just basically keeps you stuck in this what could potentially be a very painful waiting game, when in fact there is no waiting. It is all happening now, all around you. And I'm going to demonstrate all of that for you. So stay with me, because not only are we going to break down the exact methods that she used to shift her identity that then collapsed time and of course brought him back and brought her to her end result, or at least on the bridge, well on the bridge to her end result. But I'm also going to give you guys one very key, powerful question that you can ask yourself that is just going to instantly dissolve the feeling of waiting forever. That's right. You heard me. Oh, it's all happening here because I like to share all this stuff with you. I don't gatekeep. There is no membership on this channel. You're all going to access the information. And I'm going to be throwing these juicy gems your way. So please do grab them by getting yourself a notebook, taking notes. I know many of you have. You've been sharing my videos as well on other communities and forums. Like, that is just absolutely amazing. For those of you who are new, welcome to the community. And use the comment section to display the juicy gems that stand out too, because it not only helps me to see what resonates with you guys, but it also helps other members of the community too, who might have missed the collection of those gems. That's right. So I'm going to teach all of you basically how to coach yourself, as I always do. And I think many of my colleagues and fellow coaches, I'm proving a point to them at the moment, because we chat regularly, we have a laugh, we tease each other. And a lot of them, like I say, they think I'm nuts. And what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to prove to them that your behavior doesn't matter. You can give away valuable information and still remain abundant if your state is I am abundant. And it's interesting because when I set this intention and they started noticing it, it's like, I've set this intention. I started getting more people like donating to the channel, like especially in the last couple of days, which it was just, again, that's not what I'm looking for, but thank you for those of you who have. And again, it just goes to show how this works. It's always mind over matter. It's always, what state are you occupying in relation to anything that you do? And for those of you who donated, like I say, please, that's not my intention. What I want you guys to do, what I really want from you, is I want you to take this information and I want you to use it to change your life, to be your own coach. You don't need me. You don't need anyone else. You can do this. Here's all the tools. I'm going to give it to you now. So sit back, relax. It's Friday. Grab yourself a hot drink, because what else is there to do on a Friday? And here's to you and all your manifestations. Here's to us and the incredible success that we continuously get on this channel. Keep sharing your successes, guys. All of you are in line for more and more success. And I like that. We need something cozy for these autumnal days, because it's really getting quite chilly. So let's go into this, because this is just really fascinating. There's a lot to cover. Now, when we're talking about the now, what are we actually talking about? So when you look at great mystics' teachings and the writers of like the Upanishads to teachers of non-duality, they don't speak of time as like a line that we travel upon. It's described more as a single, indivisible, eternal now. It's infinite, it's dimensionless, it's present, and it's like, what I'm going to do is actually, I think the best way to describe it is to take you through an experiment. So I'm going to take you through an experiment in just a second to show you exactly what I mean. But you see, when we say that it is the eternal now, there is no past or future places that we can travel to. They're merely mental constructs, just stories that the finite mind is creating in order to make sense of eternity. Because otherwise, imagine just this eternal infinite now as our limited human selves. It's going to be a strange experience, not going to be much of an experience. So the I am, whatever your state is, the I am within you is essentially the portal through which this timeless reality then expresses itself as a timed experience. And this is the most profound secret, but did you actually know that you are a timeless being experiencing time? You're a timeless being experiencing time. Let's get in touch with our true self, with our true power. So in that case, in that sense, with that notion in mind, then any delay that you're currently experiencing, it's not a law of the universe. It is just simply a feature of the lens that you are looking at the world through. So now let's do this little micro experiment so you can better understand what the hell I'm actually talking about. It's Friday. It's too much to take in. Bear with me. It's all going to make sense, I promise you. So right now, I want you guys to just take a moment to try and leave this present moment and go back to last Tuesday. But I want you to do it without thinking about it. Don't think about last Tuesday, but see if you can go to last Tuesday without thinking about it. Can't do it, can you? All right. What about if we were to try and visit next month or try and visit the future without imagining it? Can't do it, right? So what you notice is that the past and the future simply are thoughts that are appearing now. Because otherwise we wouldn't have any idea of past or future if it wasn't for our thoughts, for our perception. And that's the whole trick. The mind is putting a timeline overlay on a single continuous now. It's a little bit like if you were to put on, I don't know, orange glasses and then gaze upon the fresh snow and start arguing that snow is orange. Einstein had said it perfectly. He had said that the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. This is also why Marcus Aurelius has taught us to confine yourself to the present. This is really all that there is. So when those of us who are on the manifestation journey are there saying, oh, it's not here yet, it's the glasses speaking. It's not actually reality. In reality, there is just one canvas, one infinite now. Everything is happened and will happen and has happened. And it's just different renderings of the now is what we're experiencing. So your identity is like the brush that you are painting your chosen picture, your chosen story over this blank canvas of the now. Now, with that in mind, because I know a lot of people are looking for ways to try and speed up their manifestations, and we've had it before. We were discussing it on the last live Q&A that we hold every week on our Discord. The members on there were sort of asking about, of course, time comes up a lot. What if if we're perfectly in the state and we're perfectly like, is there a way we can speed it up essentially? What about doing more techniques? What about affirming more? So the thing is, when you understand this concept of the infinite now, you understand that it doesn't really make sense to even say that you're speeding up time as such, right? But what you are doing is you're deleting the waiting by understanding this concept and who you are. You're deleting that waiting. So we can't deny, admittedly, because I can say all of this We could be like, yeah, we're still stuck in it though, aren't we? I mean, even I myself, of course, I've experienced time. I've had manifestations of my mental health. There's the ones that I'm most proud of, actually recovering from debilitating anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress. But I'd also manifested my home when I didn't have money. I manifested a car that didn't even exist. I made it up in my head and they made it for me, essentially. I've manifested numerous things, numerous relationships with specific people. All of my exes come back. That was my assumption. Every single one has, barring one so far. You notice the same patterns. But the thing is, the timeline, it varies. Yeah, for some of them, I felt like I was really waiting. And some of them did take a few years. Some of them took a matter of weeks, right? So we do have this experience of waiting, especially when the waiting can be quite painful. Yeah, it's a real experience. But many of us fall into the trap of waiting. And for some people, they are going to remain in that state of waiting. Sometimes they doom themselves to it indefinitely, waiting for the SP, waiting to try and get them, to manifest them. I call it the waiting room of doom. And many people, unfortunately, don't realize that they are stuck in that waiting room. I have actually made a video on this concept. And if I remember to, I will link it down in the description box below if you want to have a look. So I know many of you who did watch it, it blew your mind and it really helped you a lot, because I break down all the signs of what it's like to be in that waiting state, because it is sneaky. But I give you everything that you need in order to be able to spot it and to drag yourself out of it, get out of the waiting game. Now, there are two reasons why the waiting feels like a truth. And reason number one is essentially that, well, first of all, our human brain, it is like a prediction machine, isn't it? And it's storing your memories from the past, and it simulates your outcomes into the future, and it makes comparisons. And it's that comparison that it's constantly making that is giving you the impression of, oh, okay, it's not yet, it hasn't happened yet, and I'm waiting. Then you've got the physics element to it, whereby we are feeling a sense of direction, i.e. the past to the present to the future, because life is constantly rearranging itself. It's constantly rearranging itself. And although we can't bully a clock into submission, we can't bully a clock to move faster, and I know that many of you do have perhaps come across information that has told you this, but the truth of the matter is, doesn't matter how much you affirm, you can do it like, I don't know, some crazy banshee on steroids 500,000 times if you wish to. It will not speed up time. You can do your 3-6-9 method until your hand wants to fall off with carpal tunnel or whatever. It's not going to change time. But you can, and what you're looking for, and whatever technique you're using, you're looking to change your identity and the assumptions that makes up that identity. And that is the element that can shorten bridges. It can shorten bridges, but it is not always the case, because sometimes we have to accept that a baby is going to take 9 months. I can affirm all day long that baby is going to take 9 months. A horse, a foal is going to be born, I think, a year. It's going to take a year, right? So we are also told from ancient texts that every vision, every seed has its appointed hour. It will ripen, it will flower. If it be long, then wait, for it is sure. And it will not be late, because it's always happening now. Now, as many of you know, Joseph, who is my SP that I'd manifested, he is, absolutely amazing. Obviously the opposite of me when it comes to technology. And he'd been creating this software. A lot of you already know about this. We've been collabing with a bunch of respected coaches. Some of them have really, really big channels, have been doing this for a long time, from all over the place, America, Europe, Canada, you name it. And we've been sharing this data with each other for Joseph's software project. And what we've been doing is we're mapping out the real manifestation patterns across all communities. You've got forums, you've got blogs, you've got people's Facebook groups, you've got people's Discord groups, and that all coaches are sharing all of this information. And what we found is that there isn't a single person that we've come across yet in all these tens of thousands of, I don't even know how many submissions he's put in now, But there's not a single person who we've met who can consistently bend time, who can manifest faster just by thinking about it or just assuming that all their manifestations, not a single one. It's not been proven. But what we can say is repeated over and over again is identity-led change first and then reality conformity after, always guaranteed. And it is amazing to see, like I said, there is a lot of patterns that are being revealed now. And more will be revealed as Joseph completes his work with all of this, or at least gets enough that he feels comfortable to complete it and to release it. But you're going to see what we're talking about. And that is one of the main patterns. Like I always say, your identity influences everything. Where you place yourself in relation to your desire means everything. If you're manifesting an SP, where have you placed yourself in their world? If you're manifesting money, where have you placed yourself in that world of money and abundance? So what all of this means for you when you're looking at time is, okay, so I can't make Friday arrive on a Wednesday. But what I can do is I can stop occupying the state of I'm waiting, wait for the 3D to conform, wait for the text to arrive, wait for the money to come in before I'll believe it. No, I don't need to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change my mindset and say, for example, if it's a relationship, I'm going to be like, well, I'm the partner that this story ends with. I'm the one who's chosen. I'm the person for whom that end result is already a fact. And I can make that decision and take myself out of this waiting room of doom. And from there, when I have changed my state, my identity, my thoughts change, my perception changes, my moods change, my actions change, the energy I give off changes. People call it your frequency, your vibration. Yeah. It all changes from this. And people around you are going to feel that. And logistics and everything around you starts to align to that, starts to move to reflect that. Was it say that is it the Tao Te Ching, the nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. And I always love that. I always go back to that. Nature does not hurry, but everything is accomplished, and it will. You guys don't realize that you set all sorts of intentions all the times. They will all be accomplished. The perfect moment. So we're not trying to bend and control time, but what you're doing is you're going to delete the part of you that's waiting by connecting more so with the version of you for whom that desired outcome is already a given. That's how you reveal it in the fastest, most quickest way possible. If we want to go back to time and experiencing it, well, you want a fast bridge. That's how you do it, okay? Because a lot of the times you're not waiting on your manifestation to come to fruition. It is waiting for you. It's waiting for you to get into the state and to reveal it, reveal the truth to yourself. So as promised, let's go into my client's case study, because this was a fascinating situation. I know many of you are in similar situations as well, of frustration, of either being ghosted or being friend zoned, or being, feeling like you're not chosen or you're second rate. So I'm going to give her a fake name to protect her identity. I think it's easier. I know I keep going she and him and her and this. And sometimes I'll look back at my videos and I'm like, I don't know if that sounds a little bit confusing. So should we make it a bit easier? I'm going to give her a name. I'm just going to call her Zara, of course, to protect her identity. And she is an amazing lass, as they all are. But she's the woman that, everyone wanted her. Like I say, she's a model. She's attractive, right? She's really, really good at what she does. And she had no problem in getting attention. However, it was never from the guys that she wanted or the guy that she wanted. Now, some of you might have even seen Zara around without even realizing it, because she's done, from what I know, I think she did music videos, was it? Perfume campaign as well, hun, I think. She's just landed herself a big contract with Garnier as well, according to her recent message. So she's doing really, really well. And you can bet, she's lovely. She's attractive. She's well connected. She's intelligent. In her professional life, everything just seems so beautiful and flawless, living the best life. But then in her private life, she's the girl who gets cheated on. She's the girl who's been disrespected by narcissistic exes who would cheat and then blame her for it. She's the girl who would be used as a trophy or would be friend zoned. So she knew she was wanted, but she wasn't chosen. And she was made to, she wasn't made to experience love, I suppose, on anything more than just what seemed to be a very superficial level. So, one day through friends anyway, she meets this guy who is fun and outgoing and makes her laugh, and they have a really, really strong bond and connection immediately. And they keep in touch. They're texting each other, they're sending jokes and memes at all hours. And he would come and hang out with her. They go out for meals, they do all the usual hanging out with each other things. And he would introduce her always and refer to her always as his friend. What she heard in her world, her identity had painted that as, once again, never get the guy that I want, not interested, I'm friend zoned, and that means it's never going to happen, right? But anyway, their conversations, as I recall, because I was looking at her notes again, trying to refresh my memory, their conversations were regular at the time, very regular, and they would banter and sort of flirty banter with each other anyway. But as she would say, it was always in a sort of code. She would kind of like hint about how she liked him, and then she would give herself a bit of self-deprecation, and then he would tease, and then things would go quiet, and then she'd kind of be left guessing like where she stands, especially if he would pull away and questioning if he even liked her in the first place and stuff. And so they had a little bit of this dynamic going on for a little while. And then the nightmare of a lot of you guys on the SP journey then occurs. And that is that a third party just suddenly seems to appear out of nowhere. Now, my client, of course, is playing detective. And so she finds out, she has suspicions about this girl anyway, but she finds out through looking through social media, and she gets the confirmation finally. And then, of course, that triggers her because suddenly all of her usual assumptions are just being mirrored back to her, right? Never the one chosen, replaced, okay. Never gets the guys that she wants. Now, most people would think at this point, okay, this is it. Timeline has been destroyed, right? But in a moment, I'm going to show you exactly why this was actually the event that had saved things for her, because through this, she had taken some time to reflect back on a lot of her relationships and her assumptions. She's been following the law for a while by this point. Perhaps she hadn't fully sort of started to apply it. And this situation, I think, was the final straw for her. It was the catalyst for her coming to me and sharing with me her story. And it was evident to me, as she explained everything, that it was her assumptions that made her miss the vital signs that in that moment, she had him, she had the relationship in the now, but it was her assumptions that were just completely blocking her from seeing that timeline in that moment. So you can see why it's so important, as I always say to you guys, it's really important for you to have authority over your story. Otherwise, your story is going to have authority over you and is going to dictate to you. And we don't play that game here. We don't do it like that. No, it's not how you play the game of life, at least not if you want to win. So the things that she missed, I realized, was that he would let her into his world a lot. He was sharing with her all sorts of messy past experiences, sharing with her his worries and his vulnerability, making what turned out to be, I mean, to me it was obvious, like I say, to her it wasn't because of her insecurities, but he was making actually really not so subtle hints that he liked her, but she was too busy in her self-deprecation and her self-preservation mode to even notice and to fully experience that. He tried his best to make her feel safe. When she was stressed out, he would be hugging her for long periods or stroking her hair, she would say. I mean, I have many male friends. I don't recall any of them doing that to me to that degree. Or is that just what guy friends do? But, he was doing all that he could to try and make her feel space. And he was trying to get her to open up, because he even referred to her as a closed book. He referred to her as a closed book. And you see, that is the key to it all right there. And that's what most people miss. And that's why they stay friend zoned for years. But I'll go into that into more detail as we progress here. because you're going to see why that was important. But like I say, instead of opening up, what she did was she inadvertently shut him down. She pretends to be okay because, you know, she doesn't want to burden him with her issues or to make out that she's not all right, right? She would inadvertently make emphasis and reference to the friendship herself. I mean, she was just as much friend zoning him without her realizing it. And on top of that, she caught herself out. She had actually told him that, you know, she made it very sort of casual. She wasn't really looking for anything or caring about settling down. It wasn't really her thing, you know, because she was there thinking that I'm going to alleviate any pressure. I'm going to alleviate any pressure on this guy so that he doesn't get scared and run away. But instead, he holds on to this stuff. Or he's listening to her, all right, and he's making his own assumptions from it. And therefore, what happens is, you know, he goes and he ends up meeting someone else, someone who was essentially the safe route, because apparently this other girl was very forthcoming and there was just no second guessing. She pursued him quite a bit and he relinquished. Now, in the meantime, what that meant for my client, for Zara, is that the name that I gave her? What that meant for her was that their communication died down and you had days of silence turning into weeks, turning into being ghosted for months and months on end. She was continuously posting up flawless shots on her social media, you know, bright, sexy images, what she's doing, she's flourishing, right? I guess essentially to try and get some sort of reaction. She did admit, didn't you, darling? She did admit that it was for that, you know, for that reason, to try and see, okay, this is what you're missing. But she would just get the odd like and nothing more than that. So we worked on shifting her state and her mindset. And I'm going to share with you in more detail what we did. I'm going to bring up her assumptions and I'm going to challenge and break down each one so that you can apply this method. It's very good for changing your assumptions if you can apply this method to your own story. And like I said, she did really, really well. She changed state, as a lot of them do, during our session, and then she was able to maintain it and develop develop her identity, installing these new assumptions in a more rounded way, because she had other desires she wanted to be realized. And she made that identity her home, and she did that in a matter of weeks. So you did really, really well, darling. I will give you that. It didn't take her long to shift. Now, as a result, signs, as they often say, signs always follow. They never precede, like I was saying with the data. Always. That is guaranteed. What started to happen was, of course, work started taking off, because at the moment she's doing, like I say, she's doing big things. But back then, you know, not so much. So now she's traveling more. She's engaging in these great campaigns that were just dreams of hers. Opportunities are flowing in. There's abundance flowing into her world. And then she manages to manifest her dream home. But for her, one that she'd mentioned in her message as well was the recovery. So she's really made huge strides in her recovery with complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So we worked on some of the scenes that were essentially still plaguing her, some of the elements of her story that were still dragging her down. We used revision, we used reframing, and we got her to a place of mental strength and clarity. So then after that, more signs start coming in, more signs that things are conforming in the now, right now, not in the future, not waiting for it. It was all happening now. Big sign of hers was that her demeanor changed, the way she carried herself, the way that she spoke, her posture. She was very open now at her work, saying it like it was, very open with guys that she would meet, was quite comfortable with setting boundaries for herself, showing herself self-respect. She wouldn't shy away anymore, would you, hun? She wasn't shying away from herself. She wasn't dimming her own light by putting herself down. She wasn't making those remarks that talked herself down anymore. I mean, it becomes such a habitual thing. She didn't even realize that she was doing it. The program was running throughout. She stopped checking his socials. She started choosing herself more generally in every way. And she mentioned in her text, because I'd asked her to share about what were the main changes. Now, she had said she had also incorporated Joseph Ally's harmonic method. I know he's done a video on that. And she had gotten him to do a couple of scenes for her to help her embody the state, because the way that her mind was, she needed something short and powerful as well. And sometimes she didn't have long enough time, or I think she said, actually, was it your concentration, which I totally understand. You know, sometimes hypnosis is a bit more in depth. You need more time for it. So Joseph's imaginal scenes were like quick injections. For someone like her, she really, really struggled with creating her own imaginal acts. But basically, whatever you imagine, because you can just do it yourself, she struggled with that. But all you're looking to do, whatever imaginal scene you're creating, is you're putting together a scene that implies you have your desire. You're putting together scenes that counteract or pick out these key assumptions and counteracts your old assumptions. If you're not feeling chosen, then ensure that whatever you imagine makes you feel chosen. And it only has to be a couple of minutes, because I think those scenes, what are they? I don't even know actually if they're a minute or a couple of minutes, if that, and that's it, injected in. So this is what started to happen that makes everything look, you know, like, oh my God, magical. Because now it's getting really, really obvious as the bridge progresses over the weeks and the months. Now, she was getting her makeup done. One of the makeup artists is a mutual friend of theirs. And he just comes out and says, oh, did you know so-and-so is single now? They broke up. She's like, oh, okay. She thought, you know, is this real? Is this rumor? I mean, great news, obviously. And then roughly about a week later, another friend texted, and she was like, oh, yeah, did you hear? Yeah, so-and-so, I spoke to so-and-so, he's a bit down in the dumps. They've broken up. And, you know, he was asking about you. So she's like, okay, so he's thinking about me and that. Okay. So Zara, my client, so she messages him, and it wasn't something like, oh, let me try and push this along or anything from impatience. I think what she'd done is she'd seen a meme or something that they shared, some sort of funny anyway, and she sent it to him and just kind of like opened the lines of communication, just hope you're well. And he didn't respond until the next day, and he responded with, you know, can we talk? So they end up having a phone call, in which he ends up apologizing for his silence. And he said that the third party just became increasingly jealous, and he didn't feel that he could be in touch anymore, hence suddenly going ghost. Now, you would think, because you're like, okay, great, having the conversation, he's making the explanation, right? They're coming back together. So from here on, it should be nice and smooth. But no. I mean, it was all happening all right, but 3D didn't make it so evident. The human mind didn't make it so evident that it was all happening in the now. But let me explain. 3D was currently, I suppose, showing the opposite. And she could have fallen back into waiting mode again because of that, but we didn't let her. So their relationship went back to communication and banter, but she was still very, very much friend-zoned. And again, he would vanish for weeks without contact. Now, she was all right about it. Well, she was all right about it. You did do well, darling. You did do well, to be fair. But when we would talk about it, of course, she's relaying some of her confusions and frustrations with me. And she realizes, though, at this point, she's not accepting being a friend anymore. She doesn't see it as a dead end anymore like she used to. You see, again, another sign of the change is now. They're already in that relationship now. It's already happened, right? She already is that person. So, where was I? Do you know what? I absolutely lost my train of thought. So yes, so she's very much friend zoned. And then, like I say, he vanishes. Now, fast forward, I think again by a few more months, and a friend's birthday comes up. Now, this is the time for them to reestablish and to reconnect. Now, during the party, the SP, once again, he's coming forward and he's saying that because his last relationship with this third party was so traumatic, you know, he was left very isolated from a lot of his friends, and he felt very shameful to reach out afterwards. And he was dealing with a lot of the shame and the guilt, as well as what that relationship had done to him, what it had revealed to him about his own identity, his own assumptions and beliefs around relationships. Remember, he had the same sort of turbulent past as my client did. They were very much the same person, very much mirrored each other. And he just wanted to be his best self. So when he finally got the courage to leave that relationship, he'd actually been, during this time, taken on therapy, although he didn't admit to it straight away at the time, but he was in therapy, and he was also putting in a lot of energy and effort into trying to set up a business with a friend of his. He's trying to better himself, trying to better his life. So as you can see, even though there was all this silence where anyone could be stuck waiting for the text, waiting. I mean, in the meantime, she's living her best life because her mental health is improving, her work is improving, she's got her new home and things that happen, she's living. That's why we say you're not waiting, you're living. It's now. He's already becoming the person for which a successful, healthy relationship with Zara was going to be an inevitable. It's just that she couldn't see that movement, but there it was happening in the now. He was the partner now. He was conforming now. Therapy got him to unlock a lot of issues that he was holding on to. And Zara was starting to feel more chosen and more confident in herself, which meant that during that time, a third party who comes in as competition to put Zara in second place, to put Zara as not chosen, suddenly as the dynamic changed, Zara became chosen. Even though she's not in a relationship with SP at this point, she is chosen, to which third party gets jealous, gets him to block them all off, and of course causes the relationship to just combust, to break down. So today's update, she had basically told me that they are committed. They're working on designing a life together now, and that they even spoke about marriage and kids. So her end scene has not manifested yet. It's not fully manifested yet, but obviously things are going really, really well. And she's just in a really, really good place. I'm really happy for her, and congratulations to you too, darling. And thank you again for allowing me to share. Now, I know that when she was in the Discord that people had asked her about what she did, and I think they were expecting some sort of special hack. But the main thing that we did really was to change her assumptions, change the assumptions about men, about love, and how she sees herself in terms of relationships. You know, we're not waiting for the SP to conform. We're not waiting for when the SP is going to say so. We change the identity now. And she used, like I said, the hypnosis. She used Joseph's imaginal scenes. You know, you can make up your own imaginal scenes. You can use my hypnosis audios on the channel here as well. I give them freely. It's a free playlist for you to choose whatever you want, whatever you're manifesting. That helped with the basis of things, helped her to embody the state. But there was the assumptions that also needed to be dealt with. On top of that, she needed it in another way, let's just say, because her rational, logical mind was struggling. If she went into the imaginal scene where they're on the sofa confessing their love and she's seeing the wedding rings and stuff, well, 3D was saying that she was replaced and there's a third party and she's friend zoned. So it was kind of hard for her to make the connection. So we had to delve into her assumptions and challenge her assumptions in this manner that I'm going to show you now. I'm going to show you what we did. And I'm going to hope that all of you are going to take notes and that you're going to start to apply it, because I've been doing this, like I say, for 24 years. I've been on this journey of studying the esoteric teachings, and just out of interest studying NLP, CBT, hypnosis. So naturally, when I'm listening to people's stories, like I've relayed to you, and many of you would have picked up on her key assumptions. Let me know which one of you did. Hands up. But you know, I don't hear people just talking stories. I hear a code in people's language, and her entire reality was being run by these three assumptions. So I'm gonna let's break this down, and then afterwards I'm going to show you that question that's going to kick you out of the waiting state for good. It's going to change everything. Okay, you'll be impressed. The simple question is just going to change everything. So number one assumption. And that was relating to the fact that her value was based on the superficial value. It was all superficial. It's interesting considering she's a model as well. But her language had referred to herself as someone who was always seen as perhaps just like a trophy, someone who was wanted but was never chosen, was never loved on anything more than a superficial level. That's what her past relationships also made her feel like. However, because she's wearing the lens of that assumption, what she failed to see in reality was the reality where in the now, in the present moment, oh, she is She is so chosen, so chosen. He was trying to get her to open up. He called her a closed book. Do you remember that part? Like, he called her a closed, I told you to keep hold of that, right? He's calling her a closed book. What does that mean? He's observing the fact that she's not opening up to him. She's not comfortable around him. So he's hugging her when she's stressed. He's like doing all of these things. He's desperately trying to connect with her, even by letting her know, I'm trying to connect, you're like a closed book. But her assumption was just filtering this out, because she was like, oh, just a friend. It's just a friend. So I posed a challenge. I posed a few challenges and a few reframes to her. But one of the key things that I had said to her was, well, if your value in relation to him, or say anyone, but in relation to him, if your value was really only superficial, then why would this man be trying so hard to get past the surface of you and to try and understand the deeper level of you? Why does he care if you're a closed book, if it's all superficial? Obviously mattered. Another assumption that she had, number two, assumption number two. This was a big one that many of you struggle with, actually. Like, authenticity somehow equals vulnerability, somehow is a weakness and a liability. How many of you have that assumption? I'm meeting more and more people that have that assumption. Now, the way that you could code that is, of course, like her language. She was telling me how she would shut him down. She was pretending to be okay. She had told him she wasn't looking to settle down, to alleviate pressure. I mean, she really, really believed that in showing him any sort of weakness, even if that meant showing him too much, that I like him, I can hint at it, but if I do it too much, he's going to run away. But it's a really flawed logic, because all it is that cool girl sort of, it's like play it cool programming that I think a lot of, I don't know, again, does it come from the dating community? But there's this hidden belief, right, that the real me is too much. I have to perform a role to be loved. I mean, her whole life, even her career, is a performance, is putting on a mask, because it's what she feels like she has to do to get love. She has to do that in her career, but she has to also do that in her love life. And so this gives off the energy of, I'm a maybe, it's not a given for me. It's not like I can be myself and be loved. This is how I get love. But because of this assumption, those glasses that she's wearing about her vulnerability and authenticity being a liability, right? Those glasses meant that she ignored very, very blatant signs. I mean, like I say, he was asking for her to be vulnerable. He did that even by sharing his own vulnerability in the hope that she might open up. He wanted to know her just like he wanted her to know him. And her performance of playing it cool and not wanting to commit or anything, it wasn't alleviating any pressure. It was just a clear signal to him that, okay, she's unavailable. Maybe she's disinterested. So in essence, he never rejected her for the third party. He just respected the boundaries that she'd set. And so along comes someone else who gives a very clear indicator of what she wants. And he's living his life. Many people are like, oh, they're with a third party. Oh, they don't care. Bad SP. Can we understand their side too? So the challenge that I posed to her in relation to that, as we broke it down and we reframed what was going on and I gathered this evidence for her, she's sitting there in shock and just shaking like, oh my God. She's like, I can't believe it, right? But I said to her, okay, how else can we view this? Like, what if we were to see it a different way? So the very, very thing that you essentially call a weakness and, like vulnerability, for example, if that's a weakness, what if that is actually hiding the key ingredient, the key secret that he needs to feel safe enough to commit to you? Again, when you think about it, and I try to reframe things and to pose things, because the mind always wants to speak in these absolutes. It's so certain that I'm not chosen. It's so certain that I'm not in any contact and that nothing's happening. Yeah, really? But let's look at it again. Let's look at what actually is going on here. What's the alternative? Assumption number 3. And this is a big one for those of you who are struggling with being friend zoned or given some sort of label, right? For her, the label was a verdict, a final, an end of. And I knew that because she was saying, oh yeah, you know, when he introduced me as a friend, so I'm in the friend zone. The way she kept talking about it, it was like, you could tell she was very much feeling like she's imprisoned. This is the end, okay? Once you're a friend, always a friend. That seemed to be running. So her subconscious was so programmed, and it's because of this, she was so programmed to see love as something that was unsafe. Due to her past experiences, that's where a lot of these assumptions come from. Childhood, we did deal with her inner child. But what it meant is that anything that could essentially be a positive, like a safe label, like friend, was suddenly interpreted through this lens of, oh my God, that's a verdict. And she sees it as limitation, entrapment, never going to get what I want. But she ignored the fact that, you know, what is the basis? And I always say this to a lot of my clients. What is the basis for every loving, committed relationship? It's friendship, isn't it? I mean, your partner is your lover, but they're also your best friend. And he was building upon a foundation of something more long lasting because he was also afraid. I mean, like I say, he mirrored a lot of her fears. He had a lot of traumas and stuff. So what if he's emphasizing the friendship too? Because that's what she was doing. She was doing it to try and play it safe and try and alleviate pressure. He's doing it as well to try and alleviate pressure, to try and create a strong foundation for them. So he wants to play it slow, and that was his way of doing it. But she saw it as prison, and she kept herself there. He didn't put her there. She kept herself there. So, of course, then I challenged this as well. I mean, what if we were to look at that label, friend, right, and not see it as a final destination? What if we were to see it as that is the first step for a beautiful lifetime partnership to actually flourish from? What if we were to see it that way? How does it change the feeling for you? How do you then shift your state? I mean, that gets you to shift your state. I always, these are ways that I get people to shift their state. It's in addition to hypnosis or imaginal scenes. Like I say, sometimes imaginal scenes on their own or affirmations on their own or whatever, it might not be enough. You might have to go deeper than that. So I'm giving you the tools to do that. Like I said, I mean, this is why a lot of coaches have been working with me. I've got a couple of coaches I'm working with on their own SP journeys. Because when you're in the thick of it, it is pretty hard to see sometimes, you know. So as promised, do you want to dissolve the feeling of waiting? How many of you want to get rid of that feeling? It's a horrible feeling, isn't it? We don't want it anymore. So as promised, this is the one question that you can ask yourself now, after you've asked yourself those questions and challenged yourself over your assumptions. Here's what you can ask yourself when you feel that painful ache of waiting, it's not here yet, when is it going to happen, the impatience. I want you to just stop. And let's all do it now, as long as you're not driving any heavy machinery. Let's do it now. Stop. Close your eyes. Flow with the rhythm of your breath now. And I want you to just ask yourself this very simple question. And I want you to just let your subconscious answer the question. As I always say, subconscious answers first, answers true. Go with it. But ask yourself, if it were already done, as we've accepted, everything is in the now, everything is already done. That's the definition of infinite, right? It's not in a process, it's done, it's here now. So if it was already done, my peace was guaranteed, what would I be doing with this exact moment right now? My peace was guaranteed. Like, what would I be doing in this exact moment right now? And you'll notice that the answer, it's never about, oh, well, I'll be anxiously checking my phone and I'll be looking at the calendar. I'll be ticking off the days of how long it's been, and then I'll be questioning myself and my age. It would probably be things like, I'd be going out for a coffee with my friends, or I'd probably be quite focused on my work, or maybe I'll be planning a trip, giving myself a glow up or whatever. Because people always ask, what am I supposed to do after I've imagined and impressed? What do I do with the rest? Like, is your answer, well, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to keep affirming for it and stuff. Well, you know that your end is like a guarantee. You know that your peace is guaranteed. You know your outcome is guaranteed. Would you be spending your days doing loads of techniques all day long? Would you? I don't know, maybe. But if your peace is guaranteed, or is it more likely, and this is what you've always done all your life because you've been manifesting all your life, not just now, isn't it more likely that you're just living? Every time I ask people about, oh, what did you do in between your manifestation coming to fruition? Living my life. I think like 90-odd%. It's even what the data shows. Living my life. Living my life. Not noticing time, right? It's less painful that way when you're living and making the most of your life. So whatever your subconscious answered just then, that is your command. Go and do that very thing, okay? That's how you step out of the illusion of waiting and you get into the reality of having. Do you get it? Do you feel it? I hope so. I know there was a lot to take in on that one, guys. So thank you so much for those of you who stuck around. And remember, please give me time to answer your emails. I am inundated with emails. I'm really booked up at the moment. I don't take on a hell of a lot of clients. I want you guys to be able to do this yourselves. You know, I'm giving you the gift here, but I will respond to all of you. Please give me at the very least 5 days to get back to you. The very least. Check your spam folder. And I love you guys. And I'll see you all in the next video.